I hope you are doing good and you are in the best of your health. I hope you have liked the class of system of particles and rotational motion, and you would have practiced question as per the regular classes we have proceeded. After each of the classes, I have advised you to do practice questions that will be of great help to you all. Today's class will be seeing question based upon NEET pattern examination. That is, in the NEET examination, the question asked are of single choice questions that each question has one option as the correct answer. If you choose one option, you will get plus 4 marks, and if you choose the incorrect answer, you are going to suffer minus 1 marks. So in this class, we'll be having some good questions which have been asked in previous examination and questions which are likely to be equivalent to the question that are asked in your NEET examination. Let's go ahead with the first question of the day. If a car topples over while taking a turn, A, inner wheels leave the road first, B, outer wheels leave the road first, C, both inner and outer wheels leave the road simultaneously, D, either inner or outer wheels may leave the road first depending upon the direction in which the car takes a turn. Now let me tell you, in this case, have you ever imagined if you're traveling in a car and if on a horizontal road you are taking a turn, which wheels will actually first topple, which will actually leave the road first? You have to understand this. Now your car, due to centrifugal force, a force acts on the car opposite to direction of centripetal force, your inner wheel will leave the road first. Due to centrifugal force, your inner wheels of the car are going to leave the road first, which acts just opposite to centripetal force. Due to centrifugal force, inner wheels will leave first. Hence, the right option. Let me tell you, in your examination also, the question asked are of objective type. You should be ready with the answer. You would have learned the concept, and some questions would have gone through that would be directly put up in your examination. So you'll be knowing the answer directly and tick the options directly. This will be the right answer. Inner wheels will leave the road first. That is what is the requirement of the question. This was a simple objective question that we have discussed to show you all that even a theoretical question, a very simple question, can be also asked in your NEET examination. Question number 2, the moment of inertia of a sphere of mass capital M and radius capital R about an axis passing through its center is 2 by 5 mr square. We all know that for a sphere, moment of inertia about an axis passing through its center of mass is 2 by 5 mr square. The radius of gyration of the sphere about a parallel axis to the above and tangent to the sphere is A 7 by 5 r, B root 7 by 5 r, the third option is 3 by 5 r, and the last option is root 3 by 5 r. Let's check which option matches with the right answer. We have a sphere. So let me show you all a sphere. It will be having some mass. Its moment of inertia about this axis is 2 by 5 mr square. This is what we know. It is asking that what will be the moment of inertia. You see here, no, it's asking the radius of gyration. The radius of gyration of the sphere about a parallel axis to the above and tangent to the sphere. Tangent to the sphere and parallel to the above, so this will be the axis. So I hope that you have understood what theorem to apply here. We have to apply the parallel axis theorem. We have to apply the parallel axis theorem. From here, I knew of the axis passing through the tangent. I knew that will be equal to I that we have evaluated, I for center of mass, plus mr square. Distance of both the axes will be equal to the radius of the sphere. This will be the radius. Let me show you. This is the radius. That will be equal to IC plus mr square. That will be the new moment of inertia. IC is given as 2 by 5 mr square. This is given as mr square. When you add, you will be getting 7 by 5 mr square. What you do for radius of gyration, you have to multiply the mass with the radius of gyration whole square. So if we write this as mk whole square, k will come out to be root 7 by 5 r. This is the value of k. Let's check. Root 7 by 5 r, option number C, matches with our given response. Rest all the options are incorrect. Radius of gyration concept I have explained you on the class. I have told you how to use the theorem of parallel axis. We have also derived the theorem of parallel axis in the regular class. And you need to remember the moment of inertia of each kind of regular objects. For solid sphere, for hollow spheres, for solid cylinder, hollow cylinder, ring, disc, even cone also I have taught you, and a derivation also we have done in the class. Do remember some uniform objects, it will be of great help to you all. Do remember how to apply the theorem of parallel axis and perpendicular axis theorem. You should know how to apply them and on which objects they are applicable and how they have to be used. Next question, third question. The moment of inertia of a thin uniform annular disc about one of the diameters is I. It's given that about one of the diameter, the moment of inertia of a thin annular disc is I. Its moment of inertia about an axis perpendicular to the annular surface and passing through its center is, you see here, it's given that it's a case of a disc. This is the case of a disc that has been given to us. Now it says that its moment of inertia about an axis through its diameter. So let me say that this is the diameter. About this diameter is given as I. This is what that has been given to us. Now it says that its moment of inertia about an axis perpendicular to the annular surface and passing through its center is perpendicular to annular disc and passing through its center we need to find out about this. I hope that you are getting this axis. Let's say about this it is I dash, let's say, using the concept of theorem of perpendicular axis theorem. It is applicable only for two dimensional objects. So perpendicular axis theorem, let's use it. I dash, that is the perpendicular axis and perpendicular to this axis, and we can also say that this will be also axis, its moment of inertia will be I. So we can write I dash will be equal to I plus I, that will be equal to 2I. Hence, the moment of inertia about an axis perpendicular to the surface and passing through the center is given as 2I, that is the right answer. So let's check. Root 2I incorrect, be 2I, that's correct. Rest all are incorrect. I hope that now you would have recalled and realized how to use the concept of perpendicular axis theorem, and in the last question we also talked about the parallel axis theorem. Hope that this entails us in applying the perpendicular and parallel axis theorem. I hope that all this question would be of great help to you all in understanding. And let me tell you one thing. After learning the entire chapter, this chapter is actually very much important. After learning the entire chapter, what you do after each of the concept learn, do practice examples on that. For moment of inertia, you do practice question on it. For law of conservation of angular momentum, do practice questions on it. Then again, how to find out moment of inertia about various different axes. Using the concept of parallel axis theorem, perpendicular axis theorem, do practice that. Then use the concept of angular momentum conservation to know the angular velocity in new cases. That would be of great help to you all, and let me tell you, without practice, you are not going to perform better in your examination. So do practice more, you will find that your accuracy and speed will automatically come within you. Let's go ahead with the next question of the day, and I believe that you are learning. Question number 4. A hoop of mass capital M and radius capital R is suspended on a peg in a wall. Its moment of inertia about the peg is, now see that a hoop is actually a ring. Now you see here it's suspended through a peg within a wall. So if I talk about this as the hoop, that is the ring we are talking about, it's suspended about a peg through a wall. This is the point of suspension. It is suspended in this way. Now see here, it has been asked, so axis will be what? Axis can be treated as this one. This can be treated as the axis. We are required to find out the moment of inertia about this peg. This is what this is. I hope that now you are able to recall what concept we have to use in this problem. Not too tough. Let me tell you, this is not too tough a problem. And after solving the earlier two questions we have solved, using the parallel axis theorem concept and using the perpendicular axis theorem concept, I have already told you how to solve this. You know that what in this question the examiner is seeking from you. He is trying to confuse you that what you are going to apply. If you are not able to understand from this statement what is actually question is saying to us. It's a hoop. First of all, hoop is a circular ring, let me tell you all, and suspended from a peg that is in this way. This will be treated as an axis. Now one axis, if it is passing through center of mass and in this way, about this axis is moment of inertia is I. So I is equal to mr square, that is all we know. I is equal to mr whole square. Let's say about this peg, we can write this as I through peg, moment of inertia through peg. So these two axes are parallel to each other and this axis is passing through the center of mass. The distance between these two axes will be equal to the radius of the ring, that is the hoop. Clearly we can write moment of inertia through peg will be equal to moment of inertia that is through center of mass, that is I, plus mr whole square. This will come out to be I through center of mass, that is mr whole square plus mr whole square 2 mr whole square. I hope that you have obtained from this how to reach to this part, and the answer you are obtaining, that is 2 mr whole square. So what do you do? We have completed the entire part of the board. Take note till here. Start from the other end. Take note till here. Now I hope that you have got the answer, that is the 2 mr square is the moment of inertia about the peg. From this question again I am repeating regularly, you have to actually make out what examiner is seeking from you, and if you understand, if you can make the diagram, you can clearly reach on to the answer. You have to frame each of the equation, then you try to reach on the simple question, but the understanding is important. That is, you have to think how you have to approach for such kind of question. Now without taking more time, let's go ahead with the next one. And yes, I have not marked the answer in the given set of options. Let me mark here. You see here 2 mr square is that what we have obtained. So option number A is the right answer for this set of question. Let's go ahead with the next question of the day. Question number 5. I want you all that you can read. A rod PQ of mass M. We have a rod PQ of mass M and length L. Its total length is given as L. Is hinged at end P. It is hinged at end P. Here it is hinged. So if I draw here a hinge so that you can understand that what the question is saying to us. It is hinged at point P. Clear to us now. Next part. The rod is kept horizontal by a massless string tied to a point Q as shown in figure. So you can see the entire figure. It is actually tied with point Q. When the string is cut, you just cut the string. The initial angular acceleration of the rod is A 2g by 3l, B 3g by 2l, C g by l, and D 2g by l. I hope that you have got what the question is asking from us. Once again, I want you all to read the question and understand. We have a rod PQ. Mass is given as capital M. So let me write down the mass separately, that its mass is given as capital M. So here we have the rod, mass M and length capital L. Now the question is saying us it is hinged at this point P. That means if you cut the string, it will start coming down. And the question is asking when the string is cut, the initial angular acceleration. This is what is required, initial angular acceleration. Let me make the diagram separately for a better understanding of the problem, so that we can also mark the forces in this given question. You have, this is the rod. we have a string which is holding it. This is the case. Now see, this is the point where it is hinged. So let me mark here, this is the point where it is hinged. First of all, try to understand where will be the weight of the rod will be acting. W is equal to mg. This is the point where the weight will be acting. Let's say this is center of mass, that is C. This will be the first thing. Now what you are doing actually, rod PQ, you are going and you are just cutting the string. When you cut the string, it will be freely falling down. That is what we can see. And the question is, what is the initial angular acceleration? As it rolls down, it will be having an initial angular acceleration. Let's say that that's alpha. If angular acceleration is there, that will be only provided due to a torque. If a torque has to act, that means a force has to provide that much amount of torque. That means there will be some agent which will be providing the force. That force will give you the required amount of torque to provide the angular acceleration. Now see here the second figure that I am going to draw. In this figure, the same rod which is hinged at this point, when the string is cut, so I have removed this string now. This rod is coming down, the forces acting on its mg downwards. This length can be given as L by 2 here. This part can be given as L by 2 here. L by 2 length this much, L by 2 length this much. We have two half lengths we have mentioned. Now see, on writing the equation, torque of mg will be equal to I into alpha. So can you recall what will be the value of moment of inertia for this rod PQ hinged about this axis? So for this axis passing through one of its end, I hope that you can recall the moment of inertia that is given as 1 by 3 ml square. Clear to you all? So we have equation number 1, equation number 2. Using this, we can write torque of mg equals to I into alpha. So once again, let me write down torque of mg is equal to I into alpha. I is 1 by 3 ml square into alpha. So alpha will turn out to be torque of mg divided by 1 by 3 ml whole square. Clear to all? Torque of mg, mg is this weight, this is the axis, hence what you can obtain? The torque, this force, this distance is length L by 2, its vector is here. If you do L cross mg, you can see that this is the center of rotation, sorry, this is the direction in which the body will rotate, and thumb is pointing into the plane of the board, that is the direction of torque. So direction of torque will be acting into the plane of the board. One thing is clear to us. Torque of mg is very clear, it should be mg into L by 2. So let me write down alpha will turn out to be mg into L by 2 divided by 1 by 3 ml whole square. Clear to us? So from here you can actually remove m and m, you will be getting this as 3 by 2, and we will be having 1 L will cancel out, G by L. This is what we are getting, value of alpha is 3 by 2 G by L. I hope that you have obtained the value of angular acceleration 3 by 2 G by L. Let's check which option is matching. A, 2G by 3L, incorrect, that is not the right answer because we have obtained 3G by 2L. Yes, that's the right answer, 3G by 2L. Option number C, G by L, again that's incorrect. Option number D, 2G by L, that is incorrect. Now this was a very important question, let me tell you, where student gets confused. The student thinks that if it is cut, it will be thinking that it's coming down with an acceleration G. They will think in this way. Let me tell you very honestly, you also, when if you see this as an unsolved question, you will think that it's coming down with an acceleration G. and you will simply, what you will do, you will say that alpha is equal to A by R. You will be confused how to take R, and then you will be taking L sometimes, and you will be marking G by L as the answer. So you will be marking that G by L is the right answer. That is what mistake that a common student does. Try to avoid such mistake. See how stepwise we have to apply each of the equation. Once again, I'll give you a quick recap of this question so that you'll be having the understanding. Rod was hanging, it was hinged at this point, this string was holding it. If you cut this string, it will rotate. It will fall in this way such that it starts rotating. This is the sense of rotation. See this diagram. This was the force that was acting, so there will be tension created here in the string as you cut it. So if we take a scissor and if we cut it, we will be having in this way. If we go and cut it, this will be the second figure that will be reached to, and then we will be having that torque of mg will be equal to I into alpha. Apply this. I is given as 1 by 3 ml square, because we know that you have to use the moment of inertia about this point, about this axis. That is what we have learned in the case of a rod. That is what we have learned. In the case of axis passing through center of mass, that is 1 by 12 ml square, but for this axis it's 1 by 3 ml square. Use it. Next, write down torque due to mg is equal to 1 by 3 ml square alpha. I we have replaced by this value. Alpha will turn out to be torque of mg by 1 by 3 ml square. That is how you have to proceed. Finally, alpha is equal to gl by 2. That is mgl by 2 divided by 1 by 3 ml square. Try to simplify this, you will be getting 3 by 2 g by l. That's the answer of the question. So finally, alpha comes out to be the angular acceleration that turns out to be, that is what has been asked, that is 3g by 2l. This is a very good question. Once again, I am telling you, know the concepts, and after this class also do practice questions on your own. Try to solve each question on your own as an exercise from here, and what you do, try to practice more unsolved. Also do more practice of the unsolved question, and also see some solved examples also. That will be good for your understanding. So these set of 5 questions will be of great help to you all in your understanding. I will meet you all in the next class with more questions. And let me tell you something more about NEET examination before leaving you all. This chapter, rotational motion and system of particles and rotational motion, is a very important chapter. And let me tell you, in each year nearly 5 to 6 questions are asked based upon system of particles and rotational motion, because it's a very big topic, very important topic, and lot of questions can be made in this topic. Center of mass, collision, rotational motion, moment of inertia, angular momentum, change the axis, find the new moment of inertia. There are a lot of uniform objects. You should be knowing their center of mass. I have discussed how to find the center of mass of each kind of various objects. I have discussed how to find the moment of inertia of various kinds of objects, uniform objects. You should know the method also, how to derive that also, so that in the examination, if a new case comes, you can quickly derive it. And do remember some of the uniform objects, as regularly I am repeating this. It's very important. In the case of center of mass also, in the case of rotational motion also, know the moment of inertia, know the center of mass. Although for cone, people don't remember for cone, but question can be asked for cone also. Do remember for cone also, do remember for cylinders, for spheres, both hollow and solid, for disc, for ring, all this will be great help. In the case of center of mass, do remember the center of mass of uniform semicircular thin wire, then uniform semicircular disc. Do remember the center of mass, where does it lies, 4r by 3 pi and r by 2 pi. That is all we have learned in our regular class. With all some more questions, I will meet you all in the next class. With the next 5 questions will be of very good standard. In the next class, I will be discussing that. Till the time, you do revise and you do practice more for your betterment. Thank you everyone. Wish you all the very best.